Before we jump into today's video, please support my channel by subscribing below. Thank you so much. Odinga says of his role in the failed coup, and I quote, "We had been quietly engaged in operations designed to educate and mobilize the people in order to bring about the necessary and desired changes in our society, not through violence, but through popular mass action." He then narrates where he was and what he was doing on August 1st, 1982, the morning of the coup attempt. He says he was at a friend's house in Parklands, from where he followed the updates broadcast on KBC. On August 11th, he was picked up from Professor Oki Ooko Ombaka's house in Caledonia, Nairobi, by officers led there by his driver, whom they had picked up at Mr. Odinga's house in Kileleshwa. What followed were days of physical and psychological torture at the hands of the special branch in their offices on University Way, across the road from Central Police Station, and later at Mudhagari Police Station, GSU and CID headquarters. Mr. Odinga recalls the torture meted out by an officer of the special branch named Josiah Kipkurui Rono and his team, who were determined to extract from him a confession of what he knew about the coup attempt. Mr. Odinga refused to give in. He says his adamant position that he knew nothing about the coup attempt enraged Mr. Rono, who broke off the leg of a wooden table and slammed it repeatedly onto Mr. Odinga's head and shoulders. "The blows to my head dazed me and I fell to the floor. And as I lay there, Rono and others jumped on my chest and my genitals. Through the blinding pain, I heard them cock their guns." Then Rono's voice, "I was either going to speak and tell the truth or I was dead meat. I waited for the end, but it did not come," he writes. The beating stopped and Mr. Odinga was returned to the cells. For the next few days, he describes agonizing torture, including jailed in cold water-locked cells at the hands of the special branch. He would attempt to sleep by leaning on the wall, but soon the chilling cold, his sweater and shoes had been taken away, which would awaken him. "Remand was a rude awakening," writes Mr. Odinga. The suspects were issued with uniforms that were old and torn, especially between the legs, as part of a psychological scheme to humiliate them. The diet consisted of no more than half-cooked ugali and what Mr. Odinga describes as vegetable water, with a few limp leaves floating around. They were not allowed to see anyone or talk among themselves, and the uniforms they wore had a big C printed across the front, to indicate that they were charged with capital offenses punishable by death. He will remain in detention without trial, which was lawful at the time, until February 5, 1988, when he was dramatically released by President Moi. Mr. Odinga's mother died while he was in detention, and he will learn of this and of other deaths of relatives painfully, sometimes months after the event, and he will never be allowed out to attend their funerals, a grim testament to the torture meted out by the regime of the day. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. Adios.